obviously these last few days have been really interesting, been super fun for everyone, but I would honestly like to thank all of the staff that have been involved in helping distribute the content and work kind of overtime, from Connie to Claire, to Denise, to Kayla, to Anna, to even, to Ariel and to her support team, even going abroad to Chris Thompson and Manuel and everyone else regarding this new software update. As you know, we've been working on a piece of software on the Genius update for well over 15 months. I'd probably say about coming up to 2 years now, and we decided to release it on Monday. On Tuesday. In all fairness, it was against my better judgment, but I just trying to be like push and just trying to get this thing done because I was getting so frustrated with it. And I felt I was making one promise and then I wasn't delivering on the time, and my developers were getting frustrated and I was getting frustrated and our users were getting frustrated. And to make a long story short, on Tuesday, we released it with much aplomb and email and everything else that we could do. And within an hour or two, we basically realized that we needed to make some major changes. And I will discuss those changes with you now. Just bear with me. I need to make co-host. Without getting into kind of too much of the details, but, part of the challenge that we did have is when we build software, there's only so many devices that we can test on, and really the different types of devices, be it the hardware configurations and then the software configurations, certainly do play a factor with that. But, I'm the first to accept that in the past, I have put out, pieces of software and I've ended up having to put it back because there was this missing or that missing. And honestly, this was the first piece of software that I had spent so much time not only testing and debugging myself, but giving it out to our beta group. Our beta group had been testing and debugging, and we had gone through, I'm not kidding you, like thousands and thousands and thousands of slides and probably hundreds of different software downloads with new updates and new builds to check and everything else. And to me, it kind of got to the point that the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, I really felt we were fixing such kind of smaller, minor things that really we were ready to release, knowing that once we released it, I expected, once you start putting it out to 3,000 or 4,000 people, we are going to start getting different types of feedback and, different bugs that we didn't really encounter. But nonetheless, to actually experience, such an issue like we did over the last 2 days was a real challenge. I did put out an email this morning just trying to explain to you, the reason for the oversight. And, again, in hindsight, maybe I could have done something different. I really don't know. But, as we're now working on further changes and refinements, I must say, like over the last hour or two, I just feel so much better, because I feel I've been kind of pushing against the universe for the last 2 months, and I've been kind of fighting against the universe. And I'm sure we can all agree that when it comes to that, the universe is typically going to push back and say, time for you to go back to the drawing board and kind of take a little think. And that's essentially where I am at the moment. I've sort of let go of all expectations in terms of the new software. When it's ready, it'll be ready. It could be ready tomorrow. It could be ready in a week. Or it could be ready in a month's time. But my attitude to the software has changed. And from an energetic perspective, I feel so much clearer, feel so much happier. I feel like my kind of chi is actually moving again. Because for the last 2 or 3 months, I have felt so stagnant, so frustrated, and it's been really intense. So, at the end of the day, if there's a lesson to be taken, if there's a lesson to be learned here, it is certainly that. But really just to answer, if you do have, on a kind of deeper sort of technical level, with the old Genius to the new Genius, we completely rebuilt a database. So in other words, we had a certain brand of database that we were using, and we changed it to a new, better, more robust, easier to use database. And in doing that, we were testing on specifically my Genius profile and a lot of other users' profiles, and there was never any issue. However, when we released it to the masses, we realized there were a lot of people that had different types of databases that not necessarily that they'd been using, but there was just a lot of database configuration issues that we were encountering. So we needed to basically pull that software so we could go back and then sort of rework the database. The whole idea behind the Genius is that you've got two different components. You've got the interface, which is a cool looking graphics and everything else, and then you've got the database. In other words, how you create libraries, how you share libraries, how you export libraries, how you export Quanta Capsule, all of that lies within the database. The database then connects to the server. And that is a lot of the issues that we had. So we had a lot of practitioners that were out there that had a version maybe 2 or 3 years old, and they were using a different type of version. And each version, we've always made changes to the database. So it was just a lot of different database permutations that, we tried as we could to try to solve all of them. But, nonetheless, we went live. The universe said, no, not ready for you. So we turned it off. And we are now back to, I think, version 16.9.7. So for those of you that are using the new version, look, if it's working for you, you're not getting any bugs, great. Continue to work with it. For those of you that are encountering issues, my sincerest suggestion is to log out of that new version and then to download the new or the old 16.9.7. And then, as I said, when this new version is ready, if it's ever ready, we will figure out a way to release it. I just don't really know how. But with that said, we've got two options. We can either go back to the old technology and we can discuss the old technology, or we can still look at the new technology. And because I like new, not old, I vote we still pull up the old program. But at this stage, those of you that have joined us, if you have any questions, I would love to be able to answer them, but I don't know if you do have any questions. Connor, do you have any questions? How would I know?
Nope, not right now.
Excellent. Okay. So the first question that somebody asked is, Ryan, instead of the old version, can we go to the new version? That's a great question. Okay. So what we're going to do, if I can figure out how to pull up my app, share content, share the screen. Perfect. Okay. So this is basically the new Genius software that we've been working on. I was kind of touting it as Genius 2.0, but right now it's probably Genius 1.89. We will get to Genius 2.0. Our developers have literally been working about 17 to 18-hour days, having a look at the database configurations, etc. So yeah, that's where we are. But as you will see on my devices, my profiles work absolutely perfect. As it's just a pity everyone else doesn't have the same kind of updated database that I do. But just a few things. On this page over here, we made a few changes where you can load your current results and then you can continue with a new analysis. The reason why we did this is the following. We've had issues in the past where, maybe the Genius will crash, or maybe you'll get out of the Genius and you'll start doing an email or get onto Skype or something along those lines. And then you will want to pull up the results of your past client. So by having the load current results, we've actually enabled that to work. So in other words, you can, whenever you launch the Genius, it'll come up with this page. And if you just click on the load current results, it will load that past client. Now, many of you did report the bug that we had, and I want to thank you for that, is that the date of birth was not pulling through from the old version to the new version. We are aware of it. It is, again, a sort of database issue that we need to work, that we are currently, it's a database issue that we are not currently working on, but we are aware of it, and we will be fixing that before we release this updated version. And then obviously we've got the continue with a new analysis. So in other words, if you want to start a new analysis with your clients. So the database hasn't really changed any much. As you can see, we have changed the database here to be alphabetical order. If you have a look at your current database, you may realize it's kind of all hodgy-podgy all over the place. But we decided to change it. It's now alphabetical order. So if I want to go ahead and start with a new analysis, just go ahead and click on Start New Analysis. And then, as you can see, it instantly loads. Now, again, I think we can all be kind of candid here and say that a lot of users, to actually load that analysis, was taking a good sort of 45 to about 90 seconds to actually sort of transition from one screen to another. And again, it's just got to do with the database issues that we've been encountering. So we are currently working on that. We are aware of the lag time. Typically when you've got a 45-minute or a 25-minute session, to be spending a minute or so just going from one screen to another isn't exactly exciting. So we totally share your concerns with that. And on the voice analysis page here, we've actually worked with a company and we've purchased some additional 3D visual graphics. And really, what we plan to be doing over the coming months is changing a lot of the way the data is actually viewed and giving you different ways to actually view the data. From a sort of visual perspective, I think it's important to provide you with different ways you can view the same data. It's still the same data, but it will just be presented to you in a sort of different manner. So the client, the voice analysis page, same process as normal. You can go ahead and click on record, record the voice for 15 seconds. And then we advocate that you select the voice harmonics on the bottom left. I'm not too sure. Yeah, there we go. I didn't figure that would work. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Genius again. So I guess I'm assuming while I'm on Zoom, I can't actually do a voice recording. So we're going to go ahead and skip that, but we'll just kind of work through it. So on the voice recording page, once we've recorded the voice for 15 seconds, and typically what you want to say is, A, E, I, O, U, and then some type of positive-based statement. We just find that obviously with the AEIOU, we get a pretty good sort of frequency-based spectrum. And then it's nice to capture kind of 3 or 5 seconds of your actual voice talking as well. It just gives us a bit more variation when we are running the calculations. The voice harmonics on the bottom left, it's like a sort of digital homeopathic remedy. So in other words, we record your voice, we capture it as a kind of complex wave pattern, and then we take that wave pattern and we turn it into a homeopathic vibrational remedy. So that homeopathic vibrational remedy is something that you basically would play for about 15 seconds, and it kind of opens up the kind of blockages in your body. It kind of gets the chi flowing, just gets the energy flowing a lot more efficiently through your body. So then when you actually run with the analysis or the actual balancing frequencies, your body's going to be able to absorb and assimilate those balancing frequencies so much more efficiently. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip on this function over here. As you can see, we can take or upload a photograph. I'm just going to skip on this here. The energetic affirmation and entrainment process, we've made a lot of small changes. As an example, here in the past, it was a kind of single line box where you couldn't really have a paragraph, you couldn't really have sentences. Here you can now actually create sentences and create paragraphs, etc. So what happens with your affirmations is whatever you type in here, it'll convert that text as a kind of archetype encoding frequency. Then every single time we are playing the balancing tones, it's going to be overlaying those frequencies as a kind of sort of overlay tone. And that's like an entrainment process, So every single time you are playing frequencies, you generating beneficial frequencies into your clients, it's now playing the positive based affirmation. It's like a entrainment or a sort of shaping function. It's like kind of shaping your body into something that you want to do. The begin analysis, I'm going to click on cancel here and then begin the analysis. Connie, how are we doing for any questions? Okay, Connie says she doesn't respond to me. She's playing hard to get, but that's fine.
Sorry, no current questions.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the system overview page, we have made some kind of visual text changes here. And, we went backwards and forward with Ariel probably about 20 or 30 times trying to find trying to find a nice visual display where you could actually easily read the results. So, I know this is simple. They all Times Roman numeral, Times Roman numeral, and they are black and it's a bold font. But to actually get to this, we were changing the background colors of the screens, different shades, different opacities, and oh gosh, we were going backwards and forwards. Nonetheless, we all agreed on this and we settled and we felt that this was a pretty easy way to actually display the information on the system overview page. As you can see, we haven't really made any changes to the secondary pages, but they are all reflective of the same. If you have a look at your current 16.9.3, you will see that your system overview, the way we display the information, is actually different to all of the secondary pages. And what we've been trying to do here with the app is create a lot more consistency as well. So, however, the secondary page looked like, we wanted to make sure that the system overview looked the same as well. If you keep on changing designs and colors and graphics and images, people sort of end up getting a headache, they end up getting, kind of ADD versus a pleasurable experience. And we want you to have a pleasurable experience with the Genius. So we're trying to keep everything simple, coordinated, and branded the same. On the system overview, we can access the general overview page, and we've given you 2 options here on the general overview. First option is that you can actually include all of your libraries, or you can remove your libraries. So we had a lot of practitioners that were coming to us and saying, hey, I'd like to be able to look at the body's overall reaction of everything, including their libraries. So that's essentially what we've offered. As you can see, there'll be thousands and thousands of items here. But this is basically showing somebody's reaction to every single line item that we have within our database. In the top right-hand corner, we got two functions. We can rearrange it from 100, from the highest reaction to the lowest reaction. We push the button and then it'll rearrange it from the lowest reaction, or from the highest reaction to the lowest reaction. So we can basically toggle between the two. And then obviously if I feel there's too many libraries, I always have an option on the top right-hand corner where I can actually remove the libraries, and then I can just review everything that is in the system overview. So I guess the next question is, okay, well, what can I do with all of this here? Well, the two options here is you can obviously add the red, the yellow, the green items or the blue items, but just a word of caution, if you've got the libraries in here as well, you're going to be adding potentially, 2,000 or 3,000 items. So I'd really advise against that. But what you can do is you can add the top 50, and then you can, if you wish, you can add the bottom 50 as well into any one of your trays. So as you can see, we've now got the top and the bottom 50 items that we've added, and we've created a new feature here where you can export directly to the capsule. Hopefully this is working. I know we were having an issue with this with the last build that we released. But essentially you click on the export to capsule, and then that should open up the ability where we can export these items directly to the client. I can either add my members. I'm going to add that one and that one, cancel, and then RW. And then off we go. That email has been sent to those 3 respective users, and they will get the frequencies for the top 50 and the bottom 50 items for the general overview page. Let me go ahead and click on clear here. Let's just go back to system overview. Something else, this slider here, this green slider on the top right, on the right-hand side, this really, we've tried to improve the aesthetics of it to make it easier to use. Obviously, this is for the quick balance function. And what we want to do with the quick balance function is that is denoted on the bottom here. If we want to balance the high and the low items, we can just go ahead and do that by selecting the quick balance and then using your slider here, and we can move it anywhere from 0 minutes going up to 30 minutes. Remember, if you set it down to 0 minutes, the quick balance is actually going to run indefinitely. One thing I didn't explain last time as well is if you just drag the electrical sensitivities down into the bottom tray, you will see that it actually drags every single line item of the electrical sensitivities. We did put this in our release notes, and I really want to kind of share with you that in the past app, when you dragged, for example, 16.9.7 or 6.6, whichever the latest one is, when you drag the electrical sensitivities, it just drags that main heading of electrical sensitivities into the tray. However, on the back end, it's playing all of the frequencies for those individual items. And really what we wanted to do was just give a sort of better reflection. So now if you are just dragging in, your today's stress as an example, it's loading in every single line item that is within the today's stress. The functionality has always been the same in terms of it generates the same amount of frequencies. But really, we just wanted to give you a kind of visual idea that if you are loading in today's stress, it's going to load in every single item that is related to your today's stress. Okay, so just kind of bear that in mind. Now, the only change that we will be making, and this was thanks to a few people, namely Manuel, is if I can find the meridians. Here we've got the meridians. If I sort of drag the meridian, like the governing meridian, it's adding in every single acupuncture point, which honestly makes no sense. So what we're going to be doing is actually just changing that feature here, that if you just drag in the actual governing meridian, because we do have specific frequencies for each and every one of these meridians. So we won't be taking the individual frequencies for each and every single acupuncture point. So that will be a change when and if we come out with our new our new Genius version. Top on the bottom here, we've got some new reporting functions. As I alluded to beforehand, we will be expanding on different reporting functions that are available. But right now, just for kind of simplicity's sake, if you click on your body function, it gives you a breakdown. It gives you a breakdown just in terms of the color coding of all of the individual line items within your body. If we click on the overview, this will actually give you a summary of everything within the main kind of system overview. On the left-hand side, you've got a heat map, scatter, bubble band, heat map, scatter, bubble band. Okay, so we got two different graphs here. Not too sure why, but again, this is still under development. But what we anticipate is that we are going to give you different ways where you can actually you can present the data in sort of different visual displays. I think it's really important to look at data and graphs in different ways, because sometimes you can look at something in terms of a scatter graph or a heat map, and you'll actually be able to glean different types of information out there because of the way the data has been kind of condensed or altered or changed. So you can expect a lot of changes within this new graphing function that we have. And then the voice formants, it's not going to show the voice formants because we didn't record the voice formants, but over here, we are going to have a kind of running display of your voice as well. And we are looking at incorporating some research with kind of tracking your voice or the client's voice over a period of time. And then there's some clinical studies that have been done relating to, I think, 7 or 8 different known pathologies. And what we're looking at doing is actually tying into those 7 or 8 pathologies or those 7 or 8 studies and beginning to use the voice to kind of start analyzing that data to look for the correlations. And those are kind of clinical trials. They've been double-blind tested, etc. And we just want to start actually contributing to that on a sort of larger level. So that's where the voice formats over there will tie in. Your customers, actually your libraries, so you can get a kind of visual display of your libraries, which are not working. And then we've got the mind as well. So again, just different ways to actually view your data. So as you can see, as I'm going through this program, it's all working pretty quickly and pretty seamlessly. So when I get calls from people saying, oh, nothing is working, it's crashing, it's like, are you insane? Everything is working fine. But nonetheless, lesson learned once again. Aura function will be changing. So right, essentially the way we done the calculations are the same. We are just going to be changing the way the actual aura will be presented. Hopefully it'll give us a result. Now within the aura, I think we'll have about 5 or 6 different variables that can actually change. What I will be doing is, as we've done more, as we begin to build out the aura panel, Ariel brought up a few key issues and some of the things she didn't understand. And to be real frank with you, there was, some of the questions that she had for me, I actually could not even help her with. And again, this aura panel has been 4, 5, 6 months in the making. We've gone through so many different parameters, so many different permutations. She was asking me like, how have you decided on the colors and how have you done this? And I said, honestly, I really don't know, because we have just gone through so many different permutations. I don't even know what the code looks like. So just a kind of full disclaimer, but when this is ready, we will have information for you just in terms of the kind of variables that we have within the actual Aura page. So not to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and click back. Connie, do we have any questions yet? Or is everyone just kind of happy to listen to me just kind of go along?
Everyone's slowly just joining. It's live on Mighty Network, so people are probably just getting notified and all that goodness.
Hey, can we tap this into Mighty Network as a sort of live feed at all or not?
No, just because it's through Zoom for right now. But we'll post it after.
Okay, cool.
Just for new people joining, maybe you just want to kind of brief them on what you're doing. It's up to you. Maybe
Yeah,
also
sure.
we should describe like how to revert back to the old version, because I know there's some people stuck on that, even if you care to demonstrate that.
Probably not, to be honest, because it takes too long. But for those of you that have just joined us, just to give you a quick little update, on Tuesday we decided to release our much anticipated Genius, what I was calling 2.0, and within a few hours we decided to basically revert back to the older version. So if you have the latest version with the new features, and probably the easiest way to see if you have the new version is to go to your user record page. If you've got the load current client results and then the continue with new analysis buttons on the bottom, then you have the latest version. If the latest version is working for you and it's not crashing, then that's fine. Continue using it. If you are finding you are having library issues and inability to export, etc., we would suggest that you revert back to the older version of the Genius. And to do that, it's really simple. You just want to log out. So on the user records page, top left-hand corner, just click on that log out option and then go to the normal download page. And the most recent download, I think in 16.9.7, go ahead and click on that, and then that will download the latest version. It's the latest version of the older version. I won't go into details because if you are watching this or you're watching the recorded version, I already alluded to the fact that we had a lot of database inconsistencies between our kind of beta group and my software that I've been testing versus the 3,000 or 4,000 users out there. So once we released it, we just suddenly realized there were so many database inconsistencies. We felt it was better to bring it down and kind of go back to the drawing board. But like I said, I really feel over the last 2 or 3 months we've been pushing and pushing and pushing, and the universe has been pushing back. And I think Tuesday was a kind of final example where the universe said, no, it's not ready. No. And Tuesday, Wednesday was not the better days, but I woke up this morning and I had so much more peace about this process, just kind of realizing that instead of pushing against the universe, I just need to allow a lot more, sort of grace and flow into my life. So to me, the software will be done. Whether it's done next week, next month, next year, is kind of immaterial. We've got a really good program right now. It's functional. There's very few bugs. I'm really happy with it. People are getting great results. So, hey, anything on top of that, whenever it's ready, if it's ever ready, to me, that's just kind of icing on the cake. But nonetheless, I feel we've spent a lot of time and money on these new features, so I'd rather share the new features with you now as well. So as you can see, one of the bugs, to kind of continue the new analysis, we need to set the birth dates again. Go ahead and skip and skip. Oh, I guess we have to do another analysis. So what we'll do now is actually move on to custom libraries. And, some of the feedback I had from people is they were complaining about the custom libraries, that, the search function doesn't work, etc., etc. In my opinion, the search function should be working, but it's just kind of, you just need to get familiar with the new features that we actually have with the search function. So I'm just going to actually open up I'm just going to start a new client here. So as you can see on a new client, it's still, mind, body, biofield. We don't have the libraries associated here. So what I'm going to do is go to the libraries. And as you can see, I've got both created as well as shared libraries. So I'm going to go ahead and add these to my clients. Select all. So now I've added all of my libraries, right? But now I also want to add my master branches as well. So as you can see, I've got some master branches here. And add to clients, select all, and add to that. So now what we've done, we've added both our master branches as well as all of our individual libraries to the custom library page. So to put that into perspective, if I click on the master branch, you'll see here I've got just my master branch items. If I click on my libraries, I've got my libraries. And then if I click on all, I've got my all. I'm going to go ahead and begin the analysis here initially. So when you are searching, we've basically got 3 different ways that you can search through the libraries. The first way is that if you want to search every single line item, so in other words, every single library name as well as the individual items within the library. So let's say you want to look for digestion as an example, but you want to see every single library, every single individual item within every single library that is related to digestion. You need to make sure you've got the all set, and then you click on your search function, and then you type in digestion. And as you can see, it'll now pull up everything related to the digestion. Okay, so this is now going inside every single library and looking for all of the individual items as well. Now, what you can do, you can always, once you've identified these, you can drag them down into the respective trays as well. Okay, so that's your first search function. Your next search function is, let's say you just want to look for the actual library item names. So then you would click on the library, and then you would click on the search, and then you would type in, let's say, digestion. And now here it's just going to show you the actual library names that are related to the digestion. So here we can click down there, and we can drag items as well. So while we're doing this, I'm just making sure it's actually working as well. Yep, so as you can see, we can drag these items, or we can drag them up into the quick zap tray. Last and certainly not least, we've got your master branch option as well. So in other words, here, if you actually want to search for search within the master branch, you are just going to be searching the main headings of the actual master branch as well. So, you know, that's the kind of search function that we've got. I really like the all function, and we had a lot of requests from practitioners to be able to show, you know, for them to be able to search for specific words and for it to basically filter throughout the entire, you know, throughout all of the libraries. So we have that. Your delete function. Delete function gives you an option where you can just delete items from your system overview. In other words, you can delete library items that you don't actually wish to review because you may find they're redundant, or maybe you've got animal libraries or something like that, and it's just pointless. You can select these items and delete them from here. It is not going to delete your actual libraries. It's just going to delete them from your testing process, from your actual, from your system overview page, okay? So we can click on delete, and here we can delete the specific ones that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all of these. And as you can see, we then go ahead and those items have now been deleted. The other option, now obviously once you've deleted them, then you have to run a new scan, just for the simple reason that I've explained before. When we are scanning, it's a two-part scanning process. We first of all scan the individual line items, but then we actually scan those individual items against one another as well. So it's a kind of weighted scan that we look at. Here, just going back to the navigation, you've got you can either arrange the results from lowest to highest, or from highest to lowest, or alphabetically from A to Z, or from Z to A as well. So a lot of these functions that you're looking at, they were actually always included within your current Genius. It's just, we had the delete function, like bottom left-hand corner hidden behind this, and then we had a search function over here and the A to Z somewhere else. And it was just a kind of like a hodgepodge of, as time goes on, we have more and more requests, and then we add and we change, and we just keep on adding. And we really wanted to put ourselves in a situation where we could go back and kind of start from scratch in a way, and just try to improve the aesthetics and the kind of visual display of the libraries. As you know, so many of you work with libraries, you create your own libraries, or you buy your own libraries, from different users out there. We really wanted to give you a kind of better experience with that. One thing that we don't have in even the new version that I'm currently showing you is our library ambassador program, and then our library marketplace. Within the library, within the app, within the navigation here, there'll be a button somewhere around here where there'll be a library marketplace, and you can go to the library marketplace and you can purchase not anyone's libraries. They do need to go through an approval process through us, but those libraries that are available for purchase, you can go ahead and you can purchase them from within the app, and then they are instantly available within your Genius. So, currently the way it works now, you have to go to a website or a friend or send your email or whatever it is. You make the purchase, then we send the information off to the library creator, then they send you an email. It's a bit of a kind of long-winded, kind of lengthy process. Here we've tried to streamline the process for you, and you can do a kind of instant purchase, instant checkout, and then the libraries are available to you instantly. Our frequency, shape, and form, we've made some really cool changes. The first thing is, the kind of frequencies, the underlying frequencies are always the same. You do have a sound preview option here. So depending on how specific you'd like to be, before you begin an analysis with each of your clients, you could come here first and you could find a specific sound preview that actually works for them. So that's, certainly one thing that you can look at. The other option, you've got three options here. You've got the default tones, in other words, your current 16.9.7. The current tones that you listen to now under that default mode is what we've put in here. And then you've got your sonic signature and then your archetype encoding. Your sonic signatures are kind of frequency related, where within the Genius, within the system overview, we've got different specific frequencies that we actually generate. So when you're using the sonic signature, it's generating those specific frequencies. When you switch over to the archetype encoding is when we basically convert, words, text, mantras to energetic signatures or kind of energetic frequencies. So two sort of different options. You'll see here when you go back to the restore your default tones, you can always go ahead and make some changes here as well. But right now I'm just going to stick with the sonic signature option. You've got your power intensity, which is basically the power of the frequencies. You can always increase this to 10%. These are as percentages, 25 and 50. Your ambient soundscapes are basically, we're still generating the frequencies. The ambient soundscapes is kind of another layer on top of the actual frequencies as well. So it kind of masks the specific frequencies that you listen to. If you click Super Conscious Select, what it'll do a deeper voice scan, and then it'll select of these chimes and bells, animal sounds and nature sounds, a specific frequency based upon your voice imprint that will may be beneficial for your client. So in this instance, they've selected animal sounds. I can either have this all the way down to the bottom in terms of my volume, and then the binaural beats as well. Same kind of thing. You know, if your client is coming into you in for a session and you know they have chronic fatigue, or you know they have suffering from pain, I mean, it's not rocket science. Okay, let's go ahead and select pain management and maybe some chakra support, and they're not sleeping so well, so let's try to help them with some sleepy sounds. You select the ones that are specific to your client. You can adjust your binaural beats in terms of the audio level, and then you can change your waveform, which is currently what we have as well. So, you know, we've just given you a kind of deeper selection option within the frequency, shape, and form. You know, we had some people that were they didn't really like the bells or the chimes, or they didn't like this and they didn't like that. Instead of trying to please everyone all the time, which, as you know, is impossible, we figured we'd just try to create something which would be sort of more beneficial to everyone, to give you more freedom and flexibility for you to actually find something that works for you and something that works for each and every one of your clients as well. So, you know, with that said, it is 12:45. What I want to do is just kind of open it up to the group and see if anyone has any questions. Hopefully I'm here. Participants, more chats. Okay, I've got a few questions or a few chat functions here, so just bear with me here while I quickly scroll through some of the questions. Okay, there's a question here from Rob. If you try to roll back to the 16.9.7 and you get up to that sales page, you know, typically the reason why that is happening is you didn't log out of your previous version. But Rob, do me a favor, just shoot me a quick email, and we can actually get that adjusted for you super quickly. Okay, is the new manual that is up on the Insights website, will that be changing at all due to the problems of the new build? Wendy, no, the new manual will not be changing. You know, what we will be doing with that manual, it's a kind of live organic working document. So as we create new features and new functions, we'll certainly be doing that. But, you know, really right now, it's not about creating new, about any new features or sort of functions. It's really just about, you know, updating. A lot of the stuff is on the back end that you won't even see. Okay, I see Connor's on the ball here. She's answering all the questions. That'll be great. All those same conveyed to the quantum capsule. Tammy's great question here. In terms of the settings conveyed to the quantum capsule export or only the Genius. Right now, Connie, Tammy, when we release this new version, it will still generate the default tones within the quantum capsule. But as soon as we have done this, we are basically migrating all of our efforts over to the quantum capsule, because there's some really cool changes. That we want to do within the quantum capsule as well. So we will definitely be offering a kind of customized frequency experience as well. Question here from Rob. In my experience, if one clicks on all and then search, it won't let the practitioner to drag or expand an item. I had to change to the library button and then search to be able to drag and expand. Rob, I will look at this question in terms of if you are in the all option within the libraries and it won't let the practitioner drag or expand. Well, it shouldn't be able to expand, first of all, because when you are in the libraries, see, when we are in the all, maybe I could be wrong. Okay, so when we are in the all and then we search, let's say for, okay, Rob, when we are in the all function and we search for immune, remember, it is unpacking everything. So you should not get any chevrons here where you can kind of drill down deeper, because what we're getting is every single line item that is related to the word immune. So there definitely won't be a kind of chevron here where you can kind of drill down deeper, and that is under the all function. Now, as you can see, share content. Okay, well, I guess maybe it's just fate. So, you know, what I will do is just try to describe to you. Obviously, we will be doing, you know, more and more of these trainings, but under the libraries, under the search function, when you click on the all on the libraries and you are searching, it's searching every single line item. So you won't be able to unpack, or you won't have the little chevrons down there. And then from that page, you should be able to drag into both the top tray as well as into the bottom tray. I think, you know, just with that said, what we probably will do during this kind of, you know, development phase is maybe when we release a new beta build, we'll kind of create a new icon. So you can still keep your current Genius as it is, but then you'll just have a sort of new icon that you can actually log in with. That's something that we might explore doing. So then at least it gives us the knowledge that we can send out a beta build to 1,000 users and get them all to test it, knowing that if something doesn't work, they've always got a quick recourse where they can go back to their to their existing Genius. So that might be something actually worth exploring. But with that said, do we have any other questions? Otherwise, Connie, how are we doing with questions?
Nothing new. It looks like it was just a screen issue on my end. Sorry.
All right. Okay, there was a question here about the app being able to be used online and offline. You know, the app will always be able to be used online and offline. The poll that I put out there was really just a question of, you know, should we just release the new version now with the online version only, knowing that in the next week or 2 or 3 we'd be doing the offline. But, you know, nonetheless, what we decided to do was to basically just do both the online and the off version. So for those of you that have joined us, thank you so much. We will be back, I think maybe on Friday, tomorrow with a bit of luck. Is anyone talking on Friday? Probably me. I don't know. I will see how we go. We'll see where we are with the development as well tomorrow. But keep an eye out on your email. If we do another webinar, it will be done tomorrow, hopefully at 9 o'clock. But for those of you that have taken the time to join us, I want to thank you, and I really do want to offer my sincerest apologies for the last few days, and equally my sincerest acknowledgement to all the staff, like, you know, Connie and Kayla and Claire and Denise and Anna and Ariel's group and Ariel's support group and her ticket support system, you know, going around the clock in being able to resolve many issues that we did experience. It's really been it's been wonderful to see how everyone's really, you know, sort of stepped up to the plate. But for all of you that have been putting in the hours and been doing the best that you can, I really want to thank you and appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.